The emerald ring catches the light as Nara's trembling fingers grip the edge of the silver tray. Rain hammers the pavement outside Imperial Crest, but inside, the air is thick with whispered deals and the clink of crystal glasses. Her uniform sticks to her back from the humid kitchen, and her feet ache in shoes she's worn for 3 years straight. The ring, small, green, unremarkable to anyone who doesn't know, sits on her right hand like a secret she never asked to keep. She's 23 and invisible. That's the deal she made with survival. Keep your head down, don't correct anyone who calls you the wrong name. Smile when they snap their fingers like you're a dog. Bills don't care about dignity. Rent doesn't care if you're tired. And Nara learned a long time ago that quiet strength is the only kind that lasts. Tonight feels different though. Heavier, like the air before a storm breaks. The kind of different that makes her glance over her shoulder twice as she refills water glasses. The kind that makes her skin prickle when she feels eyes on her that shouldn't be there. Hi viewers, kindly tell us where you're watching from and what time it is. She moves between tables like a shadow, practiced and smooth, carrying plates of food that cost more than her weekly paycheck. The Imperial Crest isn't just a restaurant. It's where power eats, where men in press suits make decisions that shape entire neighborhoods, where the wealthy come to remind themselves they matter. And Nara, she's the help, the background, the girl no one remembers 5 minutes after she leaves the room. Except tonight, someone does. The older woman sitting in the corner booth hasn't taken her eyes off Nara for the past 10 minutes. Not her face, not her posture, her hand. Specifically, the emerald ring that used to belong to a foster mother named Brenna, who died 6 years ago with nothing but debts and a whispered warning Nara still doesn't understand. Protect yourself, baby. Don't trust anyone who asks about that ring. Nara never understood what that meant. Until now, the woman's gaze is sharp enough to cut glass. Her silver hair is styled like royalty, and her diamonds don't glimmer. They announce themselves. People at nearby tables lean away from her without realizing it, like she's gravity itself. Nara approaches with her professional smile, the one she practices in the mirror every morning. Good evening, ma'am. Can I start you with? The woman's hand shoots out and grabs Nara's wrist. Not rough, but firm, unmistakable. The restaurant doesn't stop, but it slows. Conversations dip. Heads turn. The woman stares at the ring like it's a ghost. Her lips part. Her breath catches. And when she speaks, her voice cracks like ice breaking over deep water. Where did you get this? Nara's heart slams against her ribs. My foster mother gave it to me. Before she passed, the woman's fingers tighten. Her eyes, sharp, cold, dangerous, suddenly flood with something Nara has never seen in a stranger's face. Grief. Raw, unfiltered grief. What was her name? The woman demands, voice shaking now. Brenna Ellington. The woman closes her eyes. Her whole body seems to fold inward, like she's been holding her breath for decades and just now remembered how to exhale. When she opens her eyes again, tears streak down her face. 3 words leave her mouth. 3 words that shatter everything Nara thought she knew about her life. That was my son's ring. Have you ever discovered something about your past that changed everything you thought you knew about yourself? 2 hours earlier, Nara had been standing in the staff bathroom, washing her hands and staring at her reflection like it might give her answers. The emerald ring glinted under the fluorescent lights. She twisted it once, twice, the way she always did when she was nervous. It was the only thing Brenna left her that wasn't a bill or a broken promise. The restaurant was already filling up. Fridays always brought out the elite crowd. Investors, old money families, politicians who smiled in public and made threats in private. Nara had learned to read the room, learned who to avoid, learned when to disappear. She tied her apron tighter and stepped back onto the floor. The Imperial Crest smelled like expensive cologne and seared steak. The kind of place where people whispered instead of talked, where every conversation could be a negotiation or a threat. Nara moved between tables with the precision of someone who had learned that mistakes cost more than just tips. A man in a gray suit snapped his fingers at her without looking up from his phone. She refilled his water without a word. Another table complained their soup was cold. She apologized and took it back to the kitchen, even though she knew it wasn't. This was her life. Small humiliations, ignored dignity, paychecks that barely covered rent. But she survived. Because Brenna taught her that survival wasn't loud. It was patient. It was disciplined. It was the ability to stand in a room full of people who thought you didn't matter and still walk out with your head up. Quiet strength wins long battles. Brenna used to say that every morning before Nara left for school, even when the power was cut off, even when there wasn't enough food, even when the landlord was pounding on the door, Nara wore that lesson like armor. She didn't notice the man in the corner watching her, didn't see the way his eyes followed her from table to table, studying her movements like he was memorizing something important. She didn't notice because she was too busy surviving. The kitchen doors swung open. The manager, a middle-aged man with a permanent scowl, barked her name. Table 12 needs service. Now, Nara grabbed her notepad and headed toward the corner booth. That's when the energy in the room shifted. The front doors opened, and every single person in the restaurant turned to look. What would you do if you realized someone had been watching you for weeks without you knowing? The woman who enters doesn't walk. She commands space. 83 years old, but age hasn't softened her. If anything, it sharpened her into something more dangerous. Her silver hair is sculpted like a crown. Her black suit fits like it was designed by someone who understands power. And her diamonds, God, her diamonds, catch the light like warnings. Casara Ventori. People don't say her name out loud. They whisper it, like saying it too clearly might summon something they're not ready for. The hostess practically bows as she leads Casara to her usual corner table. The one that's always reserved, even when she's not in town. The one that faces the entire restaurant so she can see everyone and everything. Nara feels her stomach tighten. She's heard the name before. Everyone who works at Imperial Crest has. The Ventori family isn't just wealthy. They're untouchable, connected, the kind of people who make problems disappear. Some call them a dynasty. Some call them the Ventori Circle. Some call them something darker. But no one ever says it out loud. Casara sits with the posture of someone who has survived wars. Not the kind fought with guns. The kind fought with silence and strategy and the willingness to do what others won't. Nara approaches the table, forcing her professional smile into place. Her hands are steady. Her voice is calm. Good evening, ma'am. May I bring you? Casara doesn't let her finish. Her gaze drops like a blade. Not in Nara's face. Not to her uniform. To her hand. To the emerald ring. The older woman's face composed, cold, controlled. Cracks open with shock, so raw it feels like the walls are leaning in to listen. Casara's hand shoots out. Her fingers wrap around Nara's wrist. Not violently, but with the kind of grip that says don't move. The restaurant doesn't stop, but conversation's quiet. Silverware pauses midair. People pretend not to stare. Casara's eyes are locked on the ring. Her breathing quickens. Her lips tremble, and when she finally speaks, her voice is barely a whisper. Where did you get this ring? Have you ever seen someone recognize something from their past and completely fall apart? Nara's mouth goes dry. Her pulse hammers in her ears. My foster mother. She gave it to me before she died. Casara's grip tightens. Not painful, but desperate. What was her name? Brenna Ellington. Casara's eyes close. Her chest rises sharply, like she's trying to hold back a sob. When she opens her eyes again, tears streak down her face. Silent, unstoppable. She pulls Nara's hand closer, staring at the ring like it's a relic from another life. Sit, Casara says. Her voice is shaking now. Not a request, a plea. Nara glances around. Servers don't sit with guests. It's against every rule. But something in Casara's face makes her pull out the chair and sit anyway. Casara doesn't let go of her hand. This ring, Casara whispers, voice cracking, belonged to my son. Nara blinks. Her brain scrambles for logic, for sense. Your son? I don't. How will my foster mother have? Listen to me. Casara leans forward, tears falling freely now. My son, Corvin, disappeared 24 years ago. We believed he was killed. Murdered by people who wanted to destroy my family. Nara's stomach twists. I'm sorry, but I don't understand what that has to do with. Corvin had a partner, Cassara interrupts, voice trembling with decades of buried pain. A woman he loved more than anything. She was pregnant, with his child. Nara's breath stops. Cassara's hand shakes as she cups Nara's cheek, the way a grandmother might touch a lost grandchild. When Corvin was targeted, he sent her away. To protect her. To protect the baby. Her voice breaks, but she never came home. We searched for years, and then the trail went cold. Nara's vision blurs. Her heart is pounding so hard she can barely hear her own thoughts. Cassara's eyes bore into hers. That ring was custom-made. Only one was ever created. Corvin had it made from emerald stone brought from her homeland. Nara tries to pull her hand away, but Cassara holds tight. You're his daughter, Cassara whispers. You're my granddaughter. The world tilts. The restaurant fades. Nara's entire life, every lonely night, every unanswered question, every moment she believed she was nobody, collapses into a single, impossible truth. No, Nara breathes. That can't be me. What would you do if a stranger told you your entire life was a lie? The restaurant doors open again. This time, the room doesn't just quiet. It freezes. Every conversation dies mid-sentence. Silverware stops moving. Even the servers seem to hold their breath. The man who enters doesn't need an introduction. His presence sucks the air out of the room. Tall, dark-haired, eyes like thunder before a storm. He wears a black suit that costs more than most people's cars, and he moves with the kind of control that says he's dangerous even when he's standing still. Marcellus Ventori, Cassara's grandson, Corvin's nephew, the man people whisper about in the same breath they say prayers. The boss. His gaze sweeps the room like a predator scanning prey. Sharp, calculating, missing nothing. Then his eyes land on Nara, and for the first time since he walked in, he stops. He doesn't blink, doesn't speak, just stares at her like he's seeing a ghost. The manager rushes forward, nervous energy radiating off him like heat. Mr. Ventori, is there anything I can? Marcellus brushes past him like he's invisible. He walks toward Cassara's table with measured, unstoppable steps. People lean back in their chairs without realizing it. No one meets his eyes. He stops in front of Nara. Up close, his face is sharper, harder, but there's something underneath. Something buried deep that looks like grief. You called? He says to Cassara, voice low and controlled. Cassara points at Nara's hand, at the emerald ring. Her voice is barely a whisper. Corvin's child. Marcellus's breath cracks. For a moment, he just stares. Then his jaw tightens. His hands curl into fists at his sides. This is impossible, he says, but his voice shakes. Nara stands, instinctively stepping back. But Marcellus reaches out, slowly, carefully, and takes her hand. Not forcefully, not demandingly, like she's made of glass, and he's spent his entire life losing things he couldn't protect. He stares at the ring. His thumb brushes over the emerald. His breathing gets heavier, and then something inside him breaks. His eyes flood with tears. Hot, uncontrolled, unstoppable tears. He pulls Nara into his arms and holds her against his chest, shaking with grief and relief and disbelief all at once. I spent 24 years believing you died with your mother, he whispers against her hair. His voice is raw, broken. You're the last piece of him I thought was gone forever. The entire restaurant is silent. Even the walls seem to listen. But Nara stands frozen, overwhelmed, confused. This is too much, too fast, too impossible. She pulls away, voice trembling. I'm not ready for this. Marcellus nods, wiping his face, still shaking. Then we go at your pace. No pressure, no demands. His voice softens. Just truth. Cassara adds quietly. And protection, because if you're Corvin's child, others will come for you too. Nara feels chills crawl down her spine. Marcellus's eyes harden. And when they do, they'll have to go through me first. Would you trust strangers who claim to be your family? Or would you run? Nara's apartment door is slightly open when she reaches it 2 hours later. She freezes on the third floor landing, keys dangling from her shaking hand. The hallway is dim. The fluorescent light overhead flickers like a dying heartbeat. Everything in her body screams to turn around and run. But where would she go? She pushes the door open slowly. It creaks. The sound echoes through the empty hallway like a warning. Inside, her small studio apartment looks like a hurricane tore through it. Drawers pulled out, clothes scattered across the floor. Her mattress flipped off the bed frame. The single window above her kitchen sink is cracked, spiderweb fractures spreading across the glass like frozen lightning. Someone was here. Someone was looking for something. Nara steps inside, heart hammering so hard she can hear it in her ears. Her hands tremble as she moves through the wreckage of her life. Everything she owns, already so little, has been torn apart and abandoned like trash. Then she sees it. On the small kitchen table, beneath a broken mug, sits a folded piece of paper. She picks it up with shaking fingers, unfolds it, for words, handwritten in black ink. "We found you first." The air leaves her lungs. Her knees buckle. She grabs the edge of the table to keep from falling. Her phone buzzes in her pocket. She fumbles for it, nearly drops it. The screen lights up with a message from an unknown number. "Do not move. MV." Before she can process what that means, the door bursts open. Not violently, but with precision. Controlled. Calculated. Marcellus enters first. 2 men in black suits follow behind him, silent as shadows. Cassara steps in last, her face tight with worry. Marcellus's eyes sweep the apartment in seconds. His jaw tightens. His hands curl into fists. "They know," he mutters, voice low and dangerous. "The same people who killed your mother. They know you survived." Nara's vision blurs. Her legs give out completely this time. Cassara catches her before she hits the floor, wraps her arms around her like a grandmother who's been waiting 24 years to hold her granddaughter. "You're coming with us," Marcellus says firmly. "You're under our protection now." Nara shakes her head, pulling away. "I don't want to be dragged into crime or power games. I just want—" "This isn't crime," Marcellus interrupts, voice softer now. "This is family. Blood. Truth." He steps closer, and for the first time since she met him, his eyes aren't cold. They're warm, human, and quiet justice. The kind your father died protecting. Nara swallows hard. Her throat feels like sandpaper. Cassara squeezes her hand gently. "If they know you're alive, they won't stop. Not until you're gone." Nara looks around at her destroyed apartment, at the broken window, at the note still sitting on the table. For the first time in her life, she doesn't feel alone. She feels hunted. Marcellus holds out his hand. "Let us protect you." Nara stares at his hand for a long moment. Then she takes it. As they escort her toward the door, Marcellus reaches into his jacket and pulls out a sealed envelope. "This was found near your broken window," he says quietly. He hands it to her. "Have you ever felt like your past was chasing you, even when you didn't know what it was?" Nara tears open the envelope in the back of the black SUV as it speeds through the city streets. Her hands won't stop shaking. Rain hammers the windows. The city lights blur past like ghosts. Inside the envelope is a photograph. Old, faded, creased like it's been folded and unfolded 1,000 times. A woman stands in the center of the image, holding a baby wrapped in a soft blue blanket. The woman's face is young, beautiful. Her eyes are filled with a kind of joy that Nara has never seen in any picture of herself. That woman is her mother, and the baby is her. But that's not what makes Nara's blood run cold. Behind them, half blurred, half visible, like he didn't want to be caught on camera, stand a man. His face is turned slightly away, but his wrist is visible. And on that wrist is a tattoo, a snake coiled around a dagger. Cassara gasps when she sees it. Her hand flies to her mouth. Her whole body goes rigid. Marcellus leans forward from the front seat, eyes narrowing. He takes the photo from Nara's trembling hands and stares at it for a long moment. His face darkens, not with anger, with recognition. "That man," he says quietly, voice tight with barely controlled rage, is the one who killed your father. Nara's breath stops. The world tilts again. What? Kasara's voice shakes. Rashad Kane. He was Corvin's partner once. His best friend. Until he betrayed him. Marcellus's jaw tightens. Rashad wanted control of the Ventori Circle. Corvin refused. So Rashad made a deal with our enemies. He set up an ambush. Corvin died protecting the people he loved. Nara stares at the photo, at the man standing behind her mother, at the snake tattoo that now feels like a brand burned into her memory. Why is he in this picture? She whispers. Marcellus's eyes meet hers in the rearview mirror. Because he was hunting your mother. And he found her. The silence in the car is deafening. Nara's chest tightens. Her vision blurs with tears she refuses to let fall. If he found her, why didn't he kill me too? Kasara reaches over and squeezes her hand. Because your foster mother, Brenna, got to you first. She wasn't just a random woman, Nara. She was one of ours. Corvin sent her to protect you if anything ever happened. Nara's throat closes. She never told me. She couldn't, Marcellus says. If you knew the truth, you'd have been a target your whole life. Nara looks down at the photograph again, at her mother's smile, at the baby she used to be, at the man in the background who stole everything from her before she even had a chance to know what she'd lost. What does he want from me now? She asks, voice barely a whisper. Marcellus's eyes harden in the mirror. Everything. Would you want to know the truth about your past, even if it put you in danger? The SUV pulls through iron gates that look like they belong to a fortress. Nara stares out the window at the estate sprawling before her. Tall stone walls, security cameras every 10 feet, men in black suits stationed at every corner like sentries. This isn't just a home, it's a compound, the kind of place people disappear into and never leave. Marcellus helps her out of the car. His hand is steady on her arm, guiding her toward the main entrance. Kasara walks beside her, silent but present. Inside, the house is massive. High ceilings, marble floors, chandeliers that look like they cost more than Nara's entire life. But it doesn't feel cold. It feels lived in, like a family actually exists here. Marcellus leads her to a sitting room with deep leather chairs and a fireplace crackling with warmth. He gestures for her to sit. Nara sinks into the chair, exhausted. Her body feels like it's been running for days, even though it's only been hours. Kasara sits across from her, hands folded in her lap. You don't have to join our world, Nara. You don't have to take a name or a title or any responsibility you're not ready for. Marcellus leans against the fireplace, arms crossed. But if you stay alone, they will kill you. Rashad doesn't leave loose ends. Nara's voice is small. I just want to live my life. Then let us give you that chance, Kasara says softly. Let us protect you until Rashad is no longer a threat. Nara looks at them both. At the grandmother she never knew existed. At the man who cried when he realized she was alive. For the first time in her life, someone is fighting for her. Not because they have to, but because they want to. She nods slowly. Okay. Marcellus's shoulders relax. Relief flickers across his face. You'll stay here, in the East Wing. No one gets in without clearance. No one touches you without going through me first. Kasara reaches over and takes Nara's hand. Her grip is warm, steady, the kind of touch Nara has been starving for her entire life. You're home now, Kasara whispers. Nara's throat tightens. She doesn't trust herself to speak. As they stand to leave, Marcellus pauses at the door. He reaches into his jacket and pulls out another envelope. This was also found near your window, he says quietly. He hands it to her. Would you trust people you just met to protect you? Or would you try to survive on your own? Nara opens the envelope alone in her new room. The space is bigger than her entire apartment. A bed with silk sheets. A window overlooking gardens lit by soft golden lights. Everything smells clean and expensive, but Nara barely notices. Her hands shake as she pulls out the contents of the envelope. Another photograph. This one is newer, clearer. It shows her mother holding baby Nara in front of a small house. The same image from before, but this copy isn't faded or creased. And the man behind them is fully visible now. Rashad Kane. His face is sharp, handsome, the kind of face people trust before they realize they shouldn't. His eyes are locked on Nara's mother, and there's something in his expression that makes Nara's skin crawl. Not love, not protection, possession. On his wrist, the snake tattoo is clear as day, coiled, ready to strike. But that's not what makes Nara's breath stop. There's a second figure in the background, blurred, almost invisible, a woman. Watching from the shadows, Nara squints at the photo, trying to make out details. But the image is too unclear. She hears a knock at the door. Marcellus enters without waiting for an answer, Kasara right behind him. Nara holds up the photo. Who is this woman? Kasara's face goes pale. She takes the photo with trembling hands and stares at it like she's seen a ghost. No, she whispers. It can't be. Marcellus leans over her shoulder, eyes narrowing. His jaw tightens. That's Simone Kane, Rashad's sister. Nara's stomach drops. Why was she watching my mother? Marcellus's voice is low. Dangerous. Because Simone was the one who told Rashad where to find her. Kasara's hands shake. Tears fill her eyes. Simone was in love with Corvin. When he chose your mother instead, she helped her own brother destroy him. Nara feels like the floor is falling out from under her. So both of them wanted me dead? Marcellus shakes his head. No, Rashad wanted you dead. But Simone. He hesitates. Simone wanted you alive. As leverage. Nara's voice cracks. Leverage for what? Kasara looks at her with tears streaming down her face. To force the Ventori family to give her what she always wanted. Power, control, and Corvin's legacy. Nara's chest tightens. Her vision blurs. Why me? I'm nobody. Marcellus steps closer, voice firm. You're not nobody. You're Corvin's daughter. You're the last piece of him that Rashad couldn't destroy. And that makes you the most dangerous thing in his world. Nara stares at the photograph, at her mother's smile, at the man with the snake tattoo, at the woman hiding in the shadows. Her voice is barely a whisper. What does he want from me? Marcellus's eyes harden. Everything. Have you ever learned something about your family that completely changed how you see yourself? They drive through the night toward the Ventori compound's secure wing. Rain hammers the windshield. The city fades behind them, replaced by dark roads lined with trees that look like centuries. Nara sits in the back seat, staring at the photograph in her lap. Her mother's face. Rashad cold eyes. Simone's blurred figure in the shadows. Kasara sits beside her, hand resting gently on Nara's. Rashad has been searching for you for 24 years. He believed you were dead, but now that he knows you're alive, he won't stop. Nara's voice is hollow. Why does he care so much? Marcellus glances at her in the rearview mirror. Because as long as you're alive, you're proof of what he did. Proof that he betrayed Corvin. Proof that he's a traitor. And Simone, Nara asks. Kasara's voice trembles. Simone wants you alive because she believes if she controls you, she controls the Ventori bloodline. She thinks she can use you to force us to legitimize her claim. Nara's chest tightens. I don't want any of this. Marcellus's voice is firm. I know, but they don't care what you want. They only care what you represent. The car pulls through another set of gates. Dagir, heavier, the kind that don't open unless someone inside decides you're worth protecting. They stop in front of a massive stone building. Guards stand at every entrance. Cameras track every movement. Marcellus helps Nara out of the car. His hand is steady on her arm. Protective. No one will touch you, he says quietly. Not while I'm breathing. Nara looks up at him. At the man who cried when he realized she was alive. At the man who spent 24 years believing his family was gone forever. Why do you care so much? She whispers. Marcellus's eyes soften. Because Corvin was more than my uncle. He was my brother, and you're all I have left of him. Kasara steps forward, cupping Nara's face gently. You're not alone anymore, child. You never have to be alone again. Nara's throat closes. Tears burn her eyes. For the first time in her life, she feels like she belongs somewhere, even if that somewhere is dangerous. They walk inside together. The doors close behind them with a heavy, final sound. Marcellus turns to Nara as they reach the main hall. His face is serious, his voice low. What Rashad wants from you isn't just revenge. It's not just about erasing proof of his betrayal. He pauses, eyes locked on hers. He wants to destroy the Venturi bloodline completely. And you're the last piece standing in his way. Nara's breath catches. So what happens now? Marcellus's jaw tightens. His voice drops to a whisper that feels like thunder. Now we prepare for war. Thank you so much for watching this story unfold. If this touched your heart, inspired you, or made you think about family, loyalty, and the secrets we carry, please subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next chapter of Nara's journey. Drop a comment below and tell us what you think happens next. Would you trust the Venturis? Would you fight back against Rashad? Share your thoughts and inspire others with your story. We read every single comment, and your support means everything. See you in the next story.